This is level O, list 13, and we're doing the day 1 page. And in these words, the A is making its R sound. So we've got vase, cast, mast, blast, craft, shaft, flask, basket, casket, and rather. So sounds like there's an R there, but there's not. Okay, so let's have a look at the other things that we can see happening in these words as well. So in vase, we've got the Z made by the SE on the end there. So rather than saying vase, it's making Z sound there. Cast is just as you sound it, same as mast and blast. Craft has nothing special in it except we know to use a C before an R or an L consonant for the k sound. Shaft, we've got the SH, they're making the sh sound. Flask, just be aware of that sk at the end, it's a bit tricky. Bask, et, ask, et, it's a bit hard to say. Rather, you've got the TH making the th sound, and you've also got the ER on the end. Same as casket and basket. It's a bit of a schwat sound there where we don't really pronounce it as well as we should. Basket, casket, we tend to say basket, casket, so we shorten the sound. Okay, I think that's about all we've got in those. Let's go back and have a look at what these words mean. So vase is a container that we usually put flowers in to display them. Cast could be two things. If you break or injure your arm or a leg or any bone in your body, they quite often put a plaster cast on it to hold it still so it can repair. And cast can also be the members of a play or a show that's on stage will be the cast, the people who are performing. Mast is that long pole on a ship that holds the sails up. Blast is like an explosion. Craft is when you make things out of bits and pieces. So it might be paper and you might glue and cut, or you might use cardboard or string. You can use all sorts of materials to make something. A shaft is when you have a hole in the ground and then you have something going in to pull all the dirt out of it. So you might have some sort of structure going into the ground too. Flask is a container for a liquid. A basket is a container. It's usually a woven container from like plants that someone's weaved together to make a basket that you can pop things in to carry elsewhere. Casket is a type of coffin, and rather means that when you have a choice about something, you might prefer something other than something else. So you'd say, I'd rather have. Okay, let's go back and read the word sound the words and spell the words. So we've got vase, but vase, V-A-S-E, V-A-S-E, V-A-S-E. Cover it. So you do your upstroke for the V, smile to go over for the A and back around, go over for the S and back around, and up for the E. Level O, list 13, and we're doing the day 2 page, and here we're looking at the letter A making the R sound. It's broad sound R. So we've got vase, cast, mast, blast, craft, shaft, flask, basket, casket, rather. Now let's go back and have a look at some of the other things that are in these words. So vase, we've got the E after the S here, so the S makes its Z sound. Cast, mast, nothing special in any of those. Shaft, we've got the SH. Et at the end of basket, just be careful of that, and casket. And rather, we've got the TH for the th sound and the ER on the end. So what do these words mean? Well, vase is a container for flowers. Cast could mean the members of a play, or it could mean to throw like cast a fishing line. Mast is the pole that usually holds up the sails on a boat. Blast is like an explosion. A craft could relate to a boat or a ship, and it's also the skill of making things with your hands with a variety of materials. A shaft could be a shaft of light, or a ray of light that comes down from the sky. It could be the handle on a tool. It could also be a hole in a mine, to a mine, and it could also be a column. Flask is a container for liquids. A basket is usually a container made out of reeds, or it used to be, it's probably made out of plastic now. A casket is like a coffin and or a chest, and rather is indicating a preference for something else. Now let's go through and read the word sound words and spell them. So we've got vase, V-A-S-E. So when you're writing it, you're going to go up for the V, smile over for the A, like the wave crashing, come back around, over for the S, wave crashing, come back around, and then go up for the E. Down here you have to write a list word that means, so we've got different meanings there for you to work out which word matches best for each of those. Down here you've got copy and fill the gap with the list word, so you must know the meaning of these words to be able to fill in those sentences. This is nice and easy, you've just got to write the list word under each picture. And down here we've got finish the phrase. So a phrase is a part of a sentence, it's not a full sentence, but there are common words that you would generally use with these little words here in these phrases. This is level O, list 13, and we're doing the day 3, and here we're learning about the A making its R sound, its broad sound in these words: vase, cast, mast, blast, craft, shaft, flask, basket, casket, rather. So you have to recognise that even though we're hearing that R sound, there is no R in any of these words. So the A is making a broad sound. You could just say to spell to make it easier and say like cast, mast, blast, rather than giving it that broad sound, but that's up to you. Otherwise you can remember. Now vase, to get that Z sound on the end, we've got the E after it. If we go down here, we've got the SH in shaft, ET on the end of basket and casket, and the TH in rather with the ER ending, at the end of that one. So ER is a common R-controlled vowel that makes the sound at the end of words. Right, so you're going to read, sound, spell, cover, write and check those words. Now down here it says write 8 nouns from the list in their singular and plural form. So if it's singular, it means that it's only being used referring to one thing, but if it's a plural, it means that it's referring to more than one thing, which means you might add S or ES onto the base word. Down here you've got combined with a list word to make a common pair that we often use in everyday language. Verb families, down here you're writing a base word, adding the S, adding the ing, and on all of these words, when you add the ed to them for past tense, you're going to hear it making its ud sound, it's a very strong sound. Proofreading, here you just have to tick the ones that are correct, cross off the ones that are incorrect, and create as many words as you can using list words with extensions. So any way you can extend on any of those words and write them down here. Okay, this is level O, list 13, day 4, and we're doing some revision on prepositions. So these should be quite easy for you by now. So they're the words in the sentence that really tell us anywhere a mouse could go. So link a noun, prepositions link a noun or a verb to another word in the sentence. They often represent a position. So if you look at these tricky grammar terms, you can usually find a hint in the word to tell you what to look for. To find a preposition, think about where a mouse can go. Now we've given you some examples of prepositions. There are a lot more than this as well. But these are some of the choices you can use to finish these sentences and to write your own sentences down the bottom. Now you'll find that you could have different words here. The dog in the park, so we could put in the park, or we could say the dog at the park, ran with the ball, or ran to the ball. They're just some of the choices that you could have. You'll find with each of those sentences you could have a variety of words. You just have to choose the words that you think fit the sentence best and write them in. So the marking code may show various examples. You just have to see if your word is within that marking code. So go through, you might want to discuss them as a group, and then down the bottom, as we said, you've got to write your own sentences using some of these prepositions up here.